Good afternoon, my name is Paula Rolón, and today I will be presenting my Ecocritical film analysis. Let's begin. Now, the film I chose is The Man Who Planted Trees. This film came out in 1987 and was directed by Frederick Bach. Now, this film actually won an Academy Award for Best Short Film back in 1988. Now, Elzéar Bouffier is the character that will be analyzed today. He is the protagonist of the story. The nature theme is selflessness, and the nature element is flora or plants. Reforestation. Now, reforestation is the process of replanting an area with trees. Now, reforestation is very beneficial for both the earth and for human beings and other living creatures. It replenishes unlivable habitats and fills it with new life. Now, the thesis of this presentation is that Elzéar Bouffier was a very selfless man, and thanks to his selflessness, he was able to replant an entire forest where the habitat was once dry and completely unlivable. Now, the first character modifier we're going to be looking at is that of patience. Elzéar Bouffier was a very patient man. He planted daily. One of the things that he did every single day was that of looking for good acorns to be able to plant for his trees. Now, obviously, when you work with the land, it takes a great amount of patience in self because it takes a while to see the results of, your work, which has to be consistent every day. You have to watch over the plants and stuff like that. Now, I connected this to that of farmers because farmers also work the land and they also have to be very patient to finally get the results they want from their products, plants, their crops, whatever they're growing really. Now, this is the clip I'm going to show you of the acorns.
The shepherd, who did not smoke, went to fetch a little sack, and onto the table he emptied a pile of acorns. He began to examine them very carefully, one by one, separating the good from the bad. I sat, smoking my pipe. I offered to help, but he told me it was his work, and indeed, seeing how very carefully he carried out his task, I did not resist. That was the only time we spoke. When he had set aside enough acorns, he divided them into piles of 10. As he did this, he discarded the smaller ones or those that were cracked. Now, he was examining them very, very closely. When finally there lay before him 130 acorns stopped.
Okay, the next character modifier is that of determination. Now, Elzéar, as I mentioned before, plants every single day, 100 acorns to be exact. He himself admitted that not all the plants that he planted would grow. In fact, only a small fraction of them would actually come up and he'd see them. Even though many of his crops did not grow, Elzéar never gave up and he continued planting every day because it was work, it was his mission to be able to help the land. Now, I connected this to that of crop owners because they also work the land and they must be dedicated to their work to be able to see the results they want from their crops and to be able to sell it and make a living off it. Now, here's the clip of that of determination.
For 3 years, he had been planting trees in that desolate country. He had planted 100,000. Of the 100,000, 20,000 had come up. Of these, he still expected to lose half, either to rodents
the next character modifier is quiet. Now, Elzéard Bouffier lived alone. He did this to be able to concentrate completely on cultivating the land and growing his trees. Now, with living alone came that he would be incredibly quiet when he was around other people. This is shown when another character, which was nameless in the movie, met him, and he kept commenting that he would not speak at all. It was very rare. He was very quiet, and this was due because he lived alone and he didn't have the necessity to speak at all. So when the opportunity did come up, he wasn't used to doing it. Now, I connected this to, obviously, when people in general tend to be isolated from other human beings, they start to lack of social skills, and this is because they don't need it. They live alone. They don't have to socialize when they are alone. They don't need to speak. So when they do come across spending time with other people, maybe they're not the most social of humans. Now, the clip I'm going to show you shows the perception of the man who went to see Elzéard and how he describes him as being a very quiet, subtle man.
We must remember that this exceptional man had worked in utter solitude. Solitude so complete that towards the end of his life he had lost the habit of speaking. Or perhaps he saw no need for it.
Okay, the final character modifier that we're going to be working with today is that of generous. Now, Elzéard, when he first came across the land, he thought that the land seemed like it was dying. So he was generous enough to decide to take into his own hands to recultivate the entire land. Now, since Elzéard was already old when he began doing this, he was around in his 50s, he really wasn't doing this for his own benefit. It was completely for the good of the land and for the good of future people, the future generations that would be able to enjoy this new forest that he created. So that was definitely very generous of him. I connected this to that of charity because charity is also a very generous, selfless act. In charity, you help other people, you help a cause without receiving anything in return, just for the good of the people or of the mission that is being carried across. Now, in this final clip, it shows how Elzéard decided to begin taking care of the land.
It was his opinion that the land was dying for lack of trees. He added that having nothing very important to do himself, he had resolved to remedy the state of affairs. I was young and only thought of the future as it affected me and my search for happiness. So I told him that in 30 years those 10,000 oaks would be magnificent. He answered quite simply that if God granted him life, in 30 years he would have planted so many more that these 10,000 would be like a drop of water in the sea.
Okay. Now, in conclusion, reforestation is definitely key to helping dead, unlivable habitats and making them livable for us and for other creatures. Elzéard was able to bring this forest to life thanks to his selflessness. He would never think of himself, only of others and for the good of the earth. And the big solution that we can get here is that people, when they set their minds to it, obviously humans are very at fault for most of the world's contamination, deforestation, all these things. But when people actually put their minds to do good, they can create amazing things just like this man did. He created an entire forest by himself. So humans can create just as much good as damage if they wanted to. Now, this was my presentation. Thank you for watching. Here in the works cited list, I have the link to the movie if you wish to watch it. Definitely recommend it. A very inspiring story, and I feel like everybody should watch. Thank you. Have a nice day.